Hey everyone, Aaron Bell here, and welcome to a very special Hall of Fame edition of the HockeyDocs podcast. Today's episode features one of the greats, a legend on the ice, a leader behind the bench, and someone who left a mark on the game and the people in it, Dale Hawerchuk. I had the privilege of sitting down with Dale in April of 2015, just a few years before his untimely passing in 2020. What you're about to hear is a raw and thoughtful conversation about his back-to-back Memorial Cup championships with the Cornwall Royals, his evolution as a player and a coach, and his reflections on what the Memorial Cup truly means. Dale didn't just talk about hockey, he also talked about belief, about adversity, about honoring those who came before us, and about what it takes to win when no one expects you to. Whether you're a diehard junior hockey fan or just someone who values perseverance and purpose, this one's for you. Let's honor a legend. Here's my full conversation with Dale Hawerchuk.
When did you first kind of hear of the Memorial Cup? And when did you even first know what that was?
When I was young, right? You know, it was televised, and so back then there wasn't that much hockey televised. So whenever something was televised, you definitely were watching. And I can remember the old New Westminster Bruins and the Brandon Wheat Kings, and for some reason they always come to mind. But once a year you knew the Memorial Cup was coming on, and it would be on TV.
And then so you get to Cornwall. First year you guys win the Quebec League Championship and go. It was in Brandon, wasn't it? The first year you went to Memorial.
Brandon, Regina.
Yeah. What do you remember about that?
Well, I remember that first year and playing in the Quebec League. Of course, we were all drafted in Ontario. We were Ontario kids, but we played in the Q for geographical reasons. But so we had a battle to get through Quebec, and then we weren't supposed to. And we just actually, I can remember in our first round series against Shawinigan, our starting goalie got hurt in warm up, and the backup went in, and he ran the table. He went all the way to the Memorial Cup final. So. It's funny how things work out, but I do remember, we winning the championship in Cornwall, and how crazy the town was. It was we were kind of like the Cinderella guys, and then of course we were the underdog going out west. It was in Brandon and Regina, and Regina had Doug Wickenheiser, Ron Flockhart, Darren Veach. They had a lot of big name guys. And then, of course, Peterborough, Mike Keenan was coaching Peterborough, and Billy Gardner was their go-to guy. But somehow we snuck through, got in the finals, and won it in overtime. But and I remember Robert Savard scoring the winning goal in overtime. It was it's like he didn't even get a good shot away. He kind of fanned on it, but and he didn't score many goals. He was a defenseman, and for some reason it was his time to score. So it was a great feeling.
And he obviously went on to play 3 in a row, which was kind of cool. But tell me about that year. That was the Peterborough thing. Everybody's like, "Oh, Keenan threw the game." And the fans were going crazy about it. What do you remember about that? And then the chance to come back and win.
Well, it was a 3-team tournament back then. The host team wasn't, automatically in. But that year, Regina won the West, so they were kind of like the home team. And so it came down where the final game of the round robin between Peterborough and Cornwall, if we beat Peterborough, we'd be in the final against them. If Peterborough beat us, Regina would be in the final. So, of course, it was pretty biased Regina crowd. And when we beat Peterborough, they were, to get into the final against Peterborough, the Regina people were pretty upset. So, as a player, you're not even thinking that. You're just like, hey, we have to win. And we won that game, and then we ended up beating them in overtime in the Memorial Cup final.
And then the next year, you guys didn't take anybody by surprise. The next year, you were obviously the favorite going in, and as much as you can be in that kind of a tournament. What do you remember about getting to Windsor and that second year? What was that like?
Well, what I remember about the second year was we started off very poorly at the start of the year. Doug Carpenter took a job in the Maple Leafs organization, I think in Moncton, and just before camp. So we were kind of scrambling for a coach, and then Bob Kilger just retired from refereeing, and then he came in, and we got off to a terrible start. But we got better as the year went on, and we had a good hockey club. We were, we're a strong hockey club. We represented Canada in the World Junior Championships in Germany that year. That's when the defending Memorial Cup champ represented Canada, so we went to Germany. Didn't do that great, of course we lost a few guys and we were still building, but we got stronger as the year went on, and we got in trouble. I remember the first round against the Quebec Ramparts. We lost the first 2 games at home, and we ended up beating them in 7 games, so that was the toughest series for us. And then when we got to Windsor for the Memorial Cup, of course, playing in the old barn in Windsor, and the fans were right on top of it, it was quite the atmosphere. And it was Victoria, and Grant Fuhr was there, and then Kitchener Rangers, who had a lot of up-and-coming stars, Bellows and McGuinness and Scotty Stevens and those kinds of guys. So it was going to be a tough series, but we rolled pretty good. We had our mojo in that Memorial Cup, and then of course won the final against Kitchener.
We got a chance to talk to a few of those Kitchener guys, and they all kind of said that loss helped them win the next year. Just that kind of. It's kind of funny how that seems to happen a lot, where you almost need that sort of, adversity, I guess, to come back to find out your team as well.
Yeah, I mean, the first year we were Cinderella, so we had the adversity all year of, we had to beat the bigger boys or the older teams, and we did that. The second year we had such a poor start. I think in hindsight that was probably the best thing that happened to us, because we realized that we just couldn't show up and win, and that definitely helps. It's a long grind. You need to stay healthy. You need luck. A lot of things have to go your way, but the biggest thing you have to have is belief that you can get it done.
What does it mean to you to have your name on that trophy?
Well, it's pretty special, I think, obviously for junior hockey, but you think back to, how we're here today, and, what our armed forces did for us to, give us this chance to do what we do. And, we're all pretty grateful for that opportunity. And when you look back in time, the sacrifice they made for us, it's incredible. And it compares nothing to the game of hockey, other than I think those guys would have been proud that, we were able to go on and do these kinds of things, and to have a Memorial Cup and a hockey championship, especially in Canada, because I'm sure a lot of those guys that went to war, they love the game of hockey, and it's a pretty special trophy, that's for sure.
The last thing I want to ask you about the coaches, I look at that team that you were on, there's a lot of coaches there now, guys who wanted to kind of stay in the game. What was it for you that kind of made that transition from player? Why did you want to become a coach, and what do you kind of bring from those days to the Colts?
I had no plans to be a coach, really, right? I always said when I was playing hockey, I was focused on playing hockey, and then when you finish, and I retired at 34, my hip was gone, and I was lucky. I had some time where, we built a farm, and I did a lot of outdoor work, kind of got away from the game, and then for a few years, and then slowly drifted back into it, and started coaching a little bit at the Tier 2 level, and then you started realizing that really I love this game, and it's so deep in my blood, and I love helping the kids. I was able to give them information that I didn't get till a later age, and the ones that really wanted it, they grasped it, and they moved on pretty good. So that's kind of a good feeling. You felt like you're giving back, and then the Colts opportunity came up, and it's hard to imagine it's 8 years already, but yeah, it's gone fast. But I always say in this business, it's so day to day. Things change. You get up, you go to bed, you get up, and okay, what's going to happen today? You adjust. The game is, and like life, you're adjusting every day.
More Hall of Fame episodes coming your way soon. Stories and voices that helped shape junior hockey history. Make sure you're subscribed on HockeyDocs.com, on YouTube, or through your favorite podcast app so you don't miss what's coming next. Thanks again for joining me. I'm grateful to share these conversations with you.